Hi, this is Tani with the Kinsman Free Public Library, and I thought I would share with you guys one of the craziest horror books I just read within the last month. This thing was such a ride. I couldn't put it down. I was reading an ebook, I was listening to it on audio. I'm pretty sure that if you were in the library before we went on this short hiatus, you probably have caught me with my earbuds in my ear, or at least in one ear, because I couldn't stop listening to this book. It was insanity. It is Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky. Yes, the man who gave us The Perks of Being a Wallflower wrote a horror novel, and it was so good. I'm not even sure where to begin, but it basically follows a couple different storylines. We start want to say in the 50s with one kid, and then it fast forward to present time with another child, and we follow him as he's trying to save the world from something. But is he saving the world from the right something? And this book goes into it. It's a bit of a chunker. It is almost, I want to say it's like 700 pages. So it's right up there in Stephen King realm. But it goes super quick. The chapters are short. If you do the audiobook version, the narration style is beyond fantastic. I've never listened to a better audiobook narration than Imaginary Friend. So whoever Libby and Overdrive got to do, or whoever read the book for audio that we are using through Libby and Overdrive, they were phenomenal. So I'm going to read a quick excerpt from the book to give you just so you get an idea of the story, with hopefully not giving you away too much. Don't leave the street. They can't get you if you don't leave the street. Little David Olson knew he was in trouble. The minute his mother got back with Dad, he was going to get it. His only hope was the pillow he stuffed under his blanket, which made it look like he was still in bed. They did that on TV shows, but none of that mattered now. He had snuck out of his bedroom and climbed down the ivy and slipped and hurt his foot. But it wasn't too bad. Not like his older brother playing football. This wasn't too bad. Little David Olson hobbled down Hayes Road, the mist in his face, the fog settling in down the hill. He looked up at the moon. It was full. The second night it had been full in a row. A blue moon. That's what his big brother told him, like the song that Mom and Dad danced to sometimes. Back when they were happy, back before David made them afraid. Blue moon, I saw you standing alone. Little David Olson had heard something in the bushes. For a second, he thought it might be another one of those dreams. But it wasn't. He knew it wasn't. He forced himself to stay awake, even with his headaches. He had to get there tonight. A car drove past, bathing the fog and headlight. Little David Olson hid behind a mailbox as rock and roll poured from the old Ford Mustang. A couple of the teenagers laughed. A lot of kids were being drafted into the army, and drunk driving was on the rise. That's what his dad said anyway. David, a voice whispered. Hiss. Did someone say it, or did he just hear it? Who's there? David said. Silence. It must have been in his head. That was okay. At least it wasn't the hissing lady. At least he wasn't dreaming. Or was he? David looked down the hill at the street corner with the big streetlight on Monterey Drive. The teenagers passed it, taking all the sound with them. That's when David saw the shadow of a person. A figure stood in the middle of the pool of streetlight, waiting and whistling and waiting. A song that sounded like Blue Moon. The hairs on the back of David's neck stood up. Don't go near that corner. Stay away from that person. Little David Olson cut through the yard instead. He tiptoed over an old fence. Don't let them hear you or see you. You're off the street. It's dangerous. He looked up in a window where a babysitter was making out with her boyfriend while the baby cried. but it sounded like a cat. He was still sure he wasn't dreaming, but it was getting harder and harder to tell anymore. He climbed under the fence and got wet grass stains on his pajama bottoms. He knew he couldn't hide them from his mom. He would have to wash them himself, like how he was starting to wet the bed again. He washed the sheets every morning. He couldn't let his mother know. She would ask questions. Questions he could not answer. Not out loud. He moved through the little woods behind the Maruka house, past the swing set that Mr. Maruka had put up with his boys. After a hard day's work, there were always 2 Oreos and a glass of milk waiting. Little David Olson helped them once or twice. He loved those Oreos, especially when they got a little soft and old. David. The whisper was louder now. He looked back. There was no one around. He peeked back past the houses to the streetlight. The shadow person was gone. The figure could be anywhere. It could be right behind him. Oh, please don't let it be the hissing lady. Please don't let me be asleep. And that is all I am going to give you of Imaginary Friend. If you want to find out what happens to David, as well as the whole cast of fantastic characters, borrow this book from Libby or Overdrive. It is, as soon as I return this copy, it is directly available right now, as well as the audiobook. As of March 31st at 1:37 p.m., it was available for automatic borrowing. The characters are lovable. The kids are sweet and believable. None of it feels forced. It all just slowly clicks into place, and suddenly out of nowhere, the whole story makes sense. And you go, huh, I should have seen that before. It was a wild ride. I literally can't tell you about the story without giving away the plot. So please, if you love horror and you love twists and turns and out of nowhere endings and horror books spattered with little clues and hints to what's going to happen that you don't realize were there until you get to the epiphany, the climax, the reveal of everything, this book is so for you. So please check it out. It is available on Libby and Overdrive. You get 21 days to enjoy this behemoth, but I don't think it's going to take you that long. Thanks for listening.